So you join us back here in the beautiful sunny day, very different to how the spring's been so far. It's been a real challenge on the farm. We've had to spray off the sunflowers and millet. Other crops have continued to struggle on from where we were in the winter time with all the wet weather. But now, as we get towards harvest, things are looking a bit more optimistic, and hopefully once the combines start to roll, we'll see what we end up with.
It's certainly been a year where different crops have done well. The potatoes look to be enjoying a wet season, and irrigation has been reduced greatly this year. And we're noticing from our trials on farm the difference is the way we've managed the different crops. So if we look at the winter barley, some of it had a pre-emergent spray and a herbicide for wild oats, particularly important for us as they're a seed crop. So we can't deliver the crop if it's got oats in it, so they'll have to be hand-rowed or put into a feed market. The crop behind us shows where it goes wrong when it hasn't been done properly, and on the other side is a section what's been done with the traditional version of control, and it's had a 99% control, which we're more than happy with, and helps produce a better crop at the end of the season.
This year has obviously been the challenge. Our sunflower crop has failed twice. We've planted first time, and just because of the cold weather and slug pressure, they didn't come, so we planted again. Unfortunately, the same happened again, just didn't get the warm weather after planting, so we've had to just spray them off, so kill them off with a herbicide, just to start with a clean, fresh soil for next season.
We have independent surveys done on both birds and insects and pollinators, and the bee numbers, although they got off to a good start early on in the season, when the real wet and cold spring came, we saw the numbers dropping off. And it's just today, literally, we've just seen the fields come back to life with pollinators, bees, etc. It's also been a real challenge to establish these crops this year. We still consider an environmental area a crop from our perspective, and it's been a real good year for thistles and grass weeds. So these have taken over. On our grade 1 soils, it's a real problem to keep the weeds out. So it's been a real struggle to get enough of the pollinator feed available for the pollinators as they've come round. But these have slowly again woken up with the warm weather.
So here we are stood in our, what should be our sunflower field. The sunflowers at this point should be about this high. This would have made our sunflower walk, which we do for charity every year. Unfortunately, this field got planted twice with sunflowers. Both times the crop failed due to cold weather and slug damage. So we decided to take the option of just spraying off the whole field, kill off all the weeds and remaining sunflowers that did grow, and to start with a fresh, clean soil for next year. This field will go back into sunflowers again next year. Not only does this have an impact on our farming income because of the seeds we would have harvested, but also this is part of our charity walk, getting people onto farm, the money we'd have raised for charity. It's just all been affected, but you know, there's always another year.
So this is one of our fields of naked oats, a new crop for us this year, 3 fields. We're growing it on a contract, which will be collected 95% of it, and the other 5% we'll keep ourselves to use in birdseed mixes. Still a few weeks off harvest yet, as the grains are still very much in a milky stage and will be unharvestable. So with a bit of sun like this, hopefully in 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, we'll be back in here with the combine. So naked oats, slightly different to conventional oats, as they don't have the husk on the seed. This makes it a lot easier for birds to digest. And we chose these specifically because they'll make a perfect add-on to our birdseed mixes. Another real benefit of these is that they've got a nice soft root structure underneath. And we're finding more and more with the other crops are growing, Canary seeds just the same. They're giving us a good entrance into wheat, and they're certainly getting better yields on the back of it and involves less work into the soil.
So here we are in our potato crop. This is a variety called Sagita, which will end up in the chip shops. As you can see, these aren't quite big enough to harvest yet. These will go through until the start of October. We're looking for all of these to get to the sort of size of a Coke can, something like that. So yeah, these will end up in the chip shops, where hopefully this field should produce about 150 tonnes of potatoes. We put them into 25 kilo bags, then they get shipped down on the lorry to London. This year's been a good year for potatoes because we've had so much rain. As you can see, the soil's still really quite wet, so irrigation hasn't been a problem this year, and If it continues to stay dry, we'll have to run through with an irrigator probably in a couple of weeks' time. But overall, they're looking a really good sample. We'll see what harvest brings. So a potato crop can be the cash crop on our farm, but they take a lot of management. Since they were planted, and you saw them last time, they would have been mechanically weeded with a tractor, and then they get sprayed every 7 to 10 days to keep blight out of them, which is a disease which will just decimate the crop if we don't look after it. Other than that, this year they haven't had aphicide because aphid numbers have been really low because of the weather, and continuing they'll just continue to have a blight spray every 7 days, and then they'll be left until harvest time. We are stood in one of our winter bean fields. These were planted in late October time, and there's still a little way off harvest yet. Should be sort of start of September.
Yeah, as Lloyd just said, a little way off. They're a little bit green at the moment, still a little bit soft. It's a strange crop. It's probably one of the prettiest on the farm when it's full out in flower. As it gets nearer harvest, the whole crop will go black like this and look quite depressing in all honesty. On a positive point of view, it's a crop again that's done really well for us this year. We started growing beans about 3 years ago. We stopped growing peas because the pigeons would decimate them every year, and we wanted a nitrogen fixing crop. So again, when we follow this crop with a winter wheat, we'll probably reduce half of what fertiliser we'd put on, just because the nodules have been fixed in the roots in the soil. So year to year it helps us a lot.
And these we grow these for seed, so each one of these will be taken away in a lorry, they'll dress them, and then they'll go back out to farms to be re-drilled next year.
With most of the farm under sea level, drainage is one of the most important things across the Fens. The drain behind us is part of the middle level district, and that water through the winter will get pumped right out into the North Sea through pumps all through the middle level district. And then in the summer, when there's water requirements for irrigation, there's sluices off the main drains that are opened, and we can raise the water back to a level as it is at the moment. And that allows us to access the water for irrigation.
And not only does it keep our fields dry in the winter, it also helps to keep the houses in the local community dry as well. So this is our Canary seed crop. We've got 3 fields of this on the farm, used again for bird feed, so sold on a contract, then we keep a little bit back. 3rd or 4th year into growing this. It's been a really successful crop on the farm. Just adds to the rotation again because it's a different type of straw. Really easy to look after, low input fertiliser wise and also spraying wise. And yeah, definitely a crop we'll be growing much more in the future. By rotation we mean just putting different crops in the same field. If you put the same crop in the field year after year, we start to yield deficit, and also it builds up diseases, and the soil basically just gets fed up of having the same crop all the time. So this would act as a break crop from, or rotational crop from wheat, and then it might go into potatoes to add a root crop into it, or sugar beet might be grown, just to stop the field getting sick of one crop.
I'm now standing in what is our wild bird cover for the winter. It provides feed for the birds, especially in the periods when the fields are empty. There's plenty of sources here. We've got a mixture of 5 or 6 of the cereals we grow across the farm with sunflowers mixed in as well. That hopefully will provide plenty of seed for the birds to feed on through the winter. It gives good cover for the deers, the hares, etc., and any other wildlife, pollinators, etc. We chose this area. It's about 2,000 metres long. It runs across quite a few of the fields, and it's got dikes coming off at 90 degrees, so that emphasises the corridors for like the barn owls at hunting in the evenings. They can then traverse across the fields and pick up the roots. We chose this area as well just for safety reasons, because it has the main power line running across behind us, and it just means we don't have to farm and take machinery around the power lines for safety reasons.
I will always look forward to harvest time, because you look forward to what we've been growing all throughout the year and seeing what the end results are, and also gives you a chance to start afresh on next year. Get all the videos of farmers taking part in the series on our YouTube channel, Follow Farmer.